All right, I'm Mike Morano, reporting for DamonWildcats.com, and I'm joined right now by Paul Legno, our head men's women's cross-country coach. Bringing you the latest of our weekly installment, giving you the inside information on our cross-country teams this season. Coach, your team's coming off solid showing at the Harry F. Anderson Invitational this past weekend, hosted by Roberts Wesleyan. We'll start with the women. Women's team finished 5th out of 16 teams. Good showing for them, and I'm sure good for you to see senior Amy Trabert back in action. She made her season debut and finished 4th in the individual race standings.
Yeah, we're obviously really happy to have Amy back. You know, it's nice to have some senior leadership out there. She's obviously a very strong runner, has been a great performer for us in the past. You know, she's not quite to the point where she'd like to be at this point in the season. I think she was a little frustrated after the 4th place performance, but, you know, it's coming around for her. She's finally putting in a pretty good stretch of training here. So, yeah, I was really happy to have her back. Overall, I think the women had we had an okay performance. You know, obviously we got, beat up on by Roberts Wesleyan, who's kind of our conference rival. So, we know now we have quite a lot of work to do, before the conference and the regional meet if, we really want to be a contender.
8 top 10 finishes for Amy in her career now, 5 of those coming in the last 7 races dating back to last season. So, like I said, it was good to get her back in the lineup and see her have some success. And another top 10 finish for freshman Tara Petey, just her 3rd collegiate race and already 2 top 10 finishes for her.
Yeah, Tara's been running great. Like we've said previously, I think she's going to be even stronger over the 6K distance than she is over 5K. But yeah, big PR for her, faster than she's ever run in high school. And we're hoping that she can start to drag along some of those other freshmen with her and get them up towards that, 1930, 1940 range. Because in order to compete with Roberts, we're really going to need, those girls like Savannah Warner and Mackenzie Tubbs and Taya Mucha to really step up. But I'm confident that with a couple more weeks of training, they're going to start to come around. It's a tough transition coming into college, a whole new world. You're eating at the dining hall for the first time. You're sleeping in the dorms with no air conditioning. It's a grind, especially when we, practice super early in the mornings. It's tough on them getting sleep. So it's been a transition period for all of them, but I'm confident that over the next couple of weeks it's going to start to turn around for them.
Speaking of no air conditioning, there's no air conditioning in this room right now.
Yeah, no kidding.
We'll stay on the women's side really quickly. I want to ask you about, you guys made it back into the regional rankings this week. Those come out every Tuesday from the United States Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association. You guys started the year 5th, dropped out of the poll after the Stampede Invitational, and that snapped a string of 13 straight weeks in the poll, which dated back to 2015. So just, what does that mean for your team to make it back into the regional rankings?
Yeah, we're obviously happy to be back in there. But to be honest, we don't put too much stock into the regional rankings. Cross country is a tough sport compared to track because all the courses are different. So, our times might have been slow, but, when you adjust for the conditions, it's tough to say where we really stack up against those other 10 teams in the region. So we'll really find that out at the conference meet where we, really stack up versus Roberts Wesleyan and St. Thomas Aquinas. And then, unfortunately, the first time that we'll really see most of those regional teams will be at the regional meet. So you can't put too much stock into it. We're happy to be back in there. It's great to, put that out in the press release. And, we like recruits to see that we're, are one of the top teams in the region. But, we feel like we're a much better team than 9th place. But, still remains to be seen.
You mentioned Roberts Wesleyan, I think, was 3rd, and St. Thomas Aquinas, I believe, 6th in this round of the regional rankings, us being the 3rd East Coast Conference team, and then 7 teams from the Northeast 10 Conference were ranked as well. So switching over to the men, once again, the men finished 8th out of 19 teams, I think there was, and once again, it was Lucas Canales and Josh Bodner leading the way.
Yeah, Luke and Josh both had solid races. They both ran a little bit slower than they did last Friday. I think they were a little tired coming off the long week. Racing Friday, we trained really hard the next 7 days leading up to that race. So I think they had tired legs coming in. The men raced at 11:30 versus the women running at 10:30. So I think that extra hour of heat building up was pretty difficult on them. Even just for me jogging around the course, it was a brutal day out there. And additionally, they're running 5 miles versus the women running 3.1. So not the best day for them. I think down the road they'll be a little closer to that front pack of Roberts Wesleyan guys, but overall pretty pleased with the performance.
Still no Kevin Rogenson. At this point, it looks like he will be redshirting. So tell me a little bit about the depth of your men's team. You know, Lucas and Josh have maybe had to step up into a more prominent role than what you were planning on going into the season. And then who do you got coming in behind those guys?
Yeah, the depth is actually starting to surprise me a little bit. Obviously, when you look at the roster, we don't have a ton of guys, but our top 6 are all pretty solid and all training at a pretty high level. I don't know if they've all raced to their potential yet, but between Tim Poole, Kale Silvestri, Mike Swiniarski, our freshman, and Zach Barnes, I really feel like we're going to end up having a solid 3, 4, 5. So out of those 4 guys, if we can have 3 really step up. And we saw Tim and Kale both have fantastic races. I mean, Tim was 2 seconds behind Josh this past weekend, and Kale was only about 5 seconds back from him. So they finally listened to me, went out a little slower towards the back of the pack, and really moved their way up throughout. I'm really happy with their performance, and I think Zach Barnes is really going to be a player for us later in the year as well. He, coming off an injury over the summer, missed some mileage throughout August, but he's finally been building, and I'm pretty confident that he's going to be up there with Tim and Kale pretty soon.
Looking ahead to this weekend, you guys are back in action, both teams at the Mike Woods Invitational. That's a meet hosted by SUNY Geneseo, and it'll be at Letchworth State Park. I think a really picturesque scene for a cross-country race. SUNY Geneseo, of course, has nationally ranked programs on both the men's and women's side at the Division III level. I imagine the field is going to be somewhat similar to what you saw last weekend at the Harry F. Anderson Invitational. So what are you looking for out of your teams this weekend?
Yeah, we're really excited for this weekend. We're still a little tired. It's our third race in 3 weeks, which is tough on the kids, but it's a beautiful course. Hopefully we'll get some cooler weather, which will be nice. And the course generally runs pretty fast, so it's a good opportunity for us to get out there and run some personal bests. And there's going to be some great competition. SUNY Geneseo ran their B squads at Roberts Wesleyan last week, so to have them running their A squads, who are both nationally ranked, should give us some good competition, and should be nice to see Amy and Tara, run with some of those, high level girls. And on the men's side, it's going to be a battle. There's going to be some conference teams there, and hopefully we can, perform a little better than we did last weekend.
All right. Well, we will have all you folks at home. We got you covered at DamonWildcats.com with meet previews and the recap of all the action this Saturday. And again, that'll be at DamonWildcats.com. And Coach, we wish you the best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.